how's it going? It's Liset here from Sweet Girl Farms. Okay, so today's video is gonna be a little background story on how I started flower farming. I get a lot of people with the question on how I started and interest in getting to know that story, that part of the story. And so today's video is going to cover that. Also, I'm going to be showing you where I got started as well, since it wasn't actually at the farm. So if you're interested in learning about that, then just stay tuned. Alright guys, so let's get started with the very first point, is that I actually didn't grow up on a farm. I grew up in the city. So this is my neighborhood. Boop. As you can see, there's very limited area where there's actually green space. But the interesting part is that my parents would always drive up to the valley. And so in that way, they were always invested in agriculture. They were always involved. They were always visiting different farms and ranches. They were harvesting their own fruit and pretty much distributing it or wholesaling the product in the LA area. So I actually grew up in LA. This is where my hometown is. This is my hometown. And went to school here, and it wasn't until college that I actually left this big city, and it was up in the valley. So that's how I ended up living for a bit in the valley because of college, and was already familiar with maybe the pace, not so much the lifestyle on a farm, but the pace in the sense that I would always be with my parents harvesting and then bringing everything back to LA and then going back to the valley, harvesting more fruit, yada, yada, yada. So that's how I've been involved in agriculture since a little girl. And then I always was absorbing, watching, and learning from what my parents used to do. So that's how I got a sense of knowing bits and pieces of agriculture, how it works, how things are grown, and things here and there. Very, very minimal type of knowledge. And I didn't even think that I was gonna have like a career in agriculture, because to me it was the last thing that I wanted to do since I had been doing it since a little girl. And at that point it wasn't willingly. It was like, okay, well, my parents told me I have to go with them, harvest stuff, so I have to go. So it wasn't fun. But as I got more involved in their business in terms of selling the product, so at some point or another, my parents stopped wholesaling. Well, they do it on the side, but then their main gig was selling direct to consumer, whether it be at flea markets, swap meets, farmers markets, at the side of the road, cross streets. Like, I was literally the person in the middle of the street where you see like all their, like, with their hand, with their bag of oranges. Yeah, that was me, as a little girl. So I was, in that sense, I was always involved. And as I kept growing older and older, like, my parents still kept doing that. It wasn't until recently, because of COVID, that they've stopped. But that's how I've been able to acquire so much experience selling direct to consumer and delivering customer service. Maybe not the best at the very beginning, because like I was saying, I hated being with my parents and working and just being in the field and then coming to the swap meets or farmers markets and all of that. I just didn't like waking up early. I didn't like going out in the rain or when it was hot. We wouldn't eat sometimes till like dinner time. Like, we would literally be fasting all day. It's been crazy. So that's how I've been involved in agriculture and selling. Because a lot of people ask me that if I study agriculture, or if I have a degree in horticulture, like, all of that science knowledge didn't come to me from books. It came to me from experience. So that's a little bit of background in terms of how agriculture has, how I've been involved in agriculture, or how agriculture has been involved in my life, really, one way or another. Okay, so then that's that part of the story. And then I was working at hospitals. I have a master's in public health, so that's the reason why I worked in hospitals. And at the same time, I was still doing farmers markets while I was working full time, and then I was studying. And then once I stopped studying, I still kept doing farmers markets. And it's been like that ever since undergraduate degree, my undergraduate degree, which was in biology. But I was located in Merced for my going to school there for my undergrad. But on the weekends for my junior and senior year, I kept driving back to LA every weekend to do farmers markets. So every weekend I would do an 8-hour round trip from Merced to LA to Merced, and kept doing my schoolwork. And that was crazy. I can't believe I did that every weekend and managed to still graduate on time. But I never left the business, is what I'm trying to say. That's the point of why I'm sharing that. It's because I never stopped I never really backed off of the family business completely. I've always been involved. And like I said, it's always been involved in my life, because it's one thing for me to step out of that zone, but it's another for that business life to kind of follow you. Why? Because my family really needed my help. That's why I kept driving back and forth every weekend to do farmers markets. My family was going through a rough situation during those last 2 years of my undergrad. And so that's why I did that. Even though it's crazy, that's why right now it's settling into my head. And I'm like, I can't believe I did that. But I did it, and that's the reasoning why. And so that just kept giving me even more experience. I was more resilient. There were so many things that could have stopped me, but they didn't. Okay, so then fast forwarding again to more recently, the reason I said that I have my master's and was doing hospital work and yada 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 was because I finally decided to quit that, because again, there was another transition in my life where things were changing in my personal life. And so I quit my job and then moved back to the valley. But before that, there was a week period after I quit my job and I moved to the farm where I actually got injured, and both my hands were severely damaged. I was stitched up with 20-something stitches. And so that really took a toll on me, because it was so dramatic of a change for me. There was just too many changes going on. I had just quit my job, so I didn't have an income source anymore. I got injured, so I didn't have health insurance anymore. And I didn't have income. So I felt alone. I felt lost. I felt like I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And thankfully, my parents helped me so much, and so did my brother. And then that's how I transitioned back to the farm life. So within 2 weeks of my lifespan, within those 2 weeks, so many things changed, so many things. And so, like I said, my hands were injured badly. And so what I started, so then I had previously, before all of that happened, I had started to see on Instagram a lot of flower farms pop up. I don't know how I found that on my feed, but I did. And one of them I was super interested and intrigued about, in the Fresno area. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I want to do that. It just seemed so creative. And I mean, I was like, I feel that I could do a business on my own with just flowers. Like, I had so many ideas and motivation in my head. And when that injury happened and when those life changes happened, I was like, this is the time to do it. Like, I have to start doing this. And that's really how flower farming started. It had started with that intention in my head to one day start it, but when I got injured, when I quit my job, when I didn't have anything else, I was like, this is when I'm gonna start. So flower farming for me was therapy, because I couldn't move my hands. Like, I literally couldn't even eat. I couldn't open door handles. I couldn't answer the phone because I couldn't move my fingers and my hands, like all of this wrist movement. And so that's when I was like, flower farming is gonna be my escape to somewhere. I don't know where, I don't know how, I don't know if it's gonna work out, but I'm gonna do it. So that's how that started. And it's literally the thing that got me to be outdoors more, to be active, to be involved. And if you go back to my very, 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 very first post, that's when I had ordered the floret book, and then I ordered my flower seeds, and then I started planning everything out, and it's how everything got started. So in that little short span of time is how I started to get the ball rolling. If it weren't for any of that, I really, really, really doubt that I would have started the business, because I would not have left my hometown to move back to the farm. So my parents actually took me in to live and care for me at that time, because I couldn't do anything for myself because I was literally disabled for my hands. And yeah, that's why I'm so, so grateful for them. And that's why I say I've received a lot of help from them, including the farm stand, that I have to repay back to them like 10 times the amount. Not because they were asking me, but because that's going to come from my heart and my effort and all the time that I put into it. And that's why you see me, guys, really working my butt off every day that I'm out there. And even right now, I'm in LA, but I'm actually doing deliveries. I'm getting my materials, I'm getting all the milk, the juice jugs, I am getting things done. So there's really not a break. But also, the other thing that I wanted to cover is that because all of that happened to me, I am so much more grateful for everything that I have, that I'm able to do. And that's why, again, I repeat, that's why you guys see me out there working all the time, because to me, it's not work anymore. It's being lucky to be able to move, to be able to work, to be able to breathe, to be able to be with my parents, to be able to have a farm stand, to be able to grow veggies and have the resources to do so. Like, to me, all of that is the world giving me so much more than I asked for and that I probably deserve. That's why that's why when I take time off, I don't really take time off, because I find a way to make my time resourceful and useful, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, there's so many mindset changes that occurred to me after I had my injury and after my parents helped me, that it just motivates me to keep on going more and more. And all of that really, like, farming to me isn't work. Farming to me and everything that I do is something that's fun for me, and it just so happens to make me money to sustain myself and my family. That's the way I think about it now. It was never with the intention to become like super wealthy in that sense. Of course, at the beginning it was to find a way to sustain myself, but now it's a completely different way of looking at it. It's me serving the earth, serving the community, serving my parents, and I put my heart and soul to it and into it, because all of that is honestly a miracle of God. I don't know how I would be doing it, and if it weren't for that inner spirit and that belief and that drive that God gave me the opportunity to do that and be able to do that. It's really a gift He gave me, and I'm giving it back in terms of growing stuff and selling stuff to you guys, to all the supporters that come out to the farm stand. I really, really appreciate it. That's why, to me, everything that like when people come out to the farm stand from far away, to me it's such a gift. I value it so much. Everything, I value everything. So that's the story behind how flower farming started. It really did have a purpose. It has a purpose, and it has a big meaning to it. And I think that's what's made it function so well. Because yeah, there's been issues here and there with the farm stand in terms of, like, for example, this year my veggie production was pushed back because a lot of rodents ate my transplants. So it didn't work out, and I literally lost an entire season's worth of crop. So you see, that's what I'm saying, that there has been problems. I'm not gonna paint it all pretty butterflies and rainbows, but to me those problems are really minimal, because it's just in my head. I'm like, I am so lucky to even be able to wake up in the rain, in the wind, and you know, if I sell something, I sell something. If I don't, I don't. Like, I am so content with what I do have, that what I don't have and the problems that come with it are very, very minimal to something I would not have ever had. I hope that made sense, but that's the way I see it, and that's the way I feel about it, and really how everything got started. It's a very long story, but I hope you guys enjoy it. I'm gonna show you really quickly my garden and how and where I actually started planting dahlia bulbs. They're not existent right now because no one has taken care of them since I don't live here anymore. I'm at the farm. But yeah, we can do a little tour, and hopefully it inspires you guys. Alrighty guys, so I'm walking here to the side of the house, and this is where we have where I used to have a little caracara tree, a caracara orange tree, and then there are some caracaras on hanging on the tree. And then this is my lime tree. It's actually a green lime. It's a green seedless lime, and it's a large one. And then they turn yellow when they ripen, and obviously a whole bunch of them have gone to waste. That is such a waste. I am pretty mad about that. No one takes care of the tree. Okay, so anywhere where I could fit stuff, I would. And this is a very, very tiny area. I'm pretty sure I would be able to plant a whole bunch more stuff, but not enough sunlight comes through here. So a lot of shade plants is what I would do now that I am a little bit more experienced. But yeah, I just want to show you that piece. Okay, and in front of the house we have a guava tree. This guava is really, really good. It has a really great flavor. It's a green one with pink flesh. And then we have a cherimoya tree. It's a beautiful, beautiful, ginormous tree. So like I said, we would plant stuff anywhere. So this is in the middle of like the green area here of the lawn. And then the cherimoya tree is on this little tidbit of area, and yeah, now the trunk is like hitting the concrete, but it shades the house really, really well. So like I said, I would literally fit stuff anywhere that I could, anywhere that I would have dirt. Okay, and then I planted a chili pepper tree, and it's now a plant, and then now it's like a little shrub. There's another one here. This poinsettia has been here for years now. It was like a tiny little plant like this. So if you have poinsettias from the Christmas time, plant them, and then hopefully you can get some growth on them like this one. And I had actually planted dahlia bulbs all through here. They're not here anymore because no one takes care of them, like I said, but this little area was full of flowers, and so was this area. Some of them are still here, and I see that they've propagated, but all of this had roses and dahlias. There's one rose here that made it, and yeah, I had a lot of roses. I had a calla lily, and then more plants here, and then I have another tree here. This one's ginormous now. It shades the house really, really well. This is a hawthorn tree, and you can see the fruits are right here. Like I said, They're all here. So, and then we have a sweet lime tree that I planted years ago as well. So like I said, anywhere where there was a green space, I would plant trees mostly because I wanted shade for the house. So that's the reasoning behind so many trees. And then in front, there's this Haas avocado tree, and I planted that also years ago, and then now it's abundant. Someone actually, so I had another one right there. Someone actually stole that tree. They stole an avocado tree from me like 10 years ago. I'm still hurt about it. Anyways, so this is the front area. Alrighty, and yeah, but this is where I started planting like a whole bunch of flowers. It's pretty crazy looking at it right now. The other thing that I would do, guys, is I would get plastic bottles. So for example, I remember getting milk jugs, soda cans, well, the 2-liter soda cans bottles. I would get those and plant into them. That's how I started a lot of zinnias and I believe some sunflowers. So I would literally use anything that I can plant in to start my seeds, because I didn't have any money at that point to spend so much on anything besides seeds and soil. So that's the other thing that I remember I used to start my seeds, and I would literally do it. So you can't really tell right now, or maybe you can. Here, we're gonna go to the back, but there's like no green space in any of the areas here at the house besides this little piece of dirt. It's underneath an avocado tree, and that's literally all I had. So my work area was here on a little table, and I had set a whole bunch of stuff here and on this side of the house where there's a little bit of space. I set something up here so that the plants would get sunlight, very similar to like this plywood stuff right here, so something like that. And I just had the little bottles and little what were they, they're like 6-packs of made out of like recycled material, and I laid them down like there on that thing, had some sunlight hit it, watered them every day, and that's how I started transplants. And then I transferred all of that to the farm. Like I took it to the farm on my parents' truck, and that's how I got started. So that's the other thing that I wanted to mention. Pretty much that's the overview of how I got started. I hope it inspires you. I hope it helps. It's been really crazy, and I also want to encourage everyone who doesn't have an agriculture background. I don't feel it's necessary, but I mean, there's a lot of learning, obviously. I don't want to undermine that, but definitely you don't need to necessarily have all the book knowledge to start agriculture or business in general, because I didn't have any of that stuff. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say, and I hope that this video is helpful to everyone that's asked, and maybe you can spread the word if you feel that someone has the same curiosity or interest. And yeah, that's it. Pretty much wanted to give you that short story of how I started flower farming and farming in general, agriculture business. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and take care. Bye.